Hi guys, it's Sherry. I hope that you have been having a wonderful day. Y'all, let's do some more phenomenal paper crafting. Stay tuned. So as we continue to work on getting organized in 2021, I have been focused on making some projects that I think would be useful in organizing your home, your craft room, or your office. Whatever it is you want to use them for, we've made some phenomenal storage boxes, and today is no different. Here is today's project, guys. This is a very large desktop tray, or you can actually place it in your cubby system that you have. This is designed to fit the IKEA KALLAX system, as well as the Better Homes and Gardens version of that same system. So this will fit into one of those cubby openings, no problem at all. And look at what I have in here. I have some 12 by 12 papers. This is actually a project that I am working on. So I stopped the project so that I could film the video, decided I would put my project pieces in here so that you can see one of the ways that I will use boxes like this. I will use it so that if I'm mid-project, I can take all of my project pieces, put it in this box, end my day, come back the next day, pick up the box, and pick up where I left off. So this really is a super easy project to make, and some of you are going to be saying, yeah, sure, you make it look easy. But no, seriously, guys, this really is an easy project. It's a large one, but it's easy in construction. So y'all know what time it is. It is time to make it. Because this project is going to be pretty large, I have my overhead camera raised so that y'all can hopefully see as much of the project process as possible. So here is what we're going to need to get started. I have 4 pieces that are cut at 12.5 by 3. I have 1 piece that is cut at 12.5 by 12.5. And guys, I'm using foam board on this project because if we're going to make those larger pieces, and we want them large enough to hold our 12 by 12 papers, you either need to buy an oversized piece of chipboard in the big mat board form, or in my case, you can use foam board, which is what I'm choosing to do. So then you're also going to need a piece of foam board that measures 13 by 13. I have 1 piece of 12 by 12 paper that I'll be using on the bottom of my tray. And then I have some pieces of wrapping paper, just rolled wrapping paper that I've cut out that I will be covering these 2 large pieces with. You just need to make sure that you're using a piece that is large enough to cover whatever size your foam board or your large chipboard is. And then many of you have asked questions about the foam board that I use. I am going to hold this up so that you can get this SKU. This is the foam board that I purchased from Hobby Lobby. So this week, the week of January 11th, you're able to get this at 40% off. And then I have this roll of wrapping paper that I also got at Hobby Lobby. You guys have seen me craft with this. This is what we're going to be using today. So this is what I mean when I say rolled paper. It does not have to be the exact paper that I'm using. As long as you have a rolled paper that you like, use it for your project. It does not have to match what I'm using on this particular project. All right, guys, so what I have done is I have removed the tape from the back of my 12 by 3 inch pieces, and I am going to use the grid that is on my paper as my guide. So I am going to take my first piece and I am going to place it down so that the base is hitting that grid. Then I'll take my second piece, and when I place this piece down, I want to make sure that I'm placing it down so that the space in between covers the thickness of this foam board. And I am simply going to take it and I'm placing it down on that grid. And because it's so long, I really have to just slide it over piece by piece. So I'm going to take my third piece and we're going to place it down just like we did the others. And then I'll take my fourth piece and put it down. This is one of those projects that I would actually do on the floor because it's so large, but my camera isn't positioned over the floor, so we are going to just do it on my desktop. And so now what I'm going to do is I am just going to cut away some of this wrapping paper so we can get it out of the way. Okay, so now that we have the 4 pieces placed down, I am simply going to bring up the bottom, and I'm going along the bottom just to give that a little crease all the way across. And then I'm going to take this piece and fold it like that. And then we'll take this in and fold it like that as well. Because now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and miter our corners. So I'll angle in right there on the corner, and then I'll angle here, and we'll get that out of the way. I'll angle right here, and then I'll angle there and get that out of the way. We're going to do the same thing over here, so I am simply going to angle there, and then I can angle here and angle here. The larger your piece, the harder it is to work with on your desktop, but the end result is so worth it. So you can see that I tore my paper right here. That's not going to matter because this is the glue flap, but I am going to come in between each one of those score marks and notch out a V. And then we're going to take one of our ends, it doesn't matter which end you choose, and we are going to add our glue and fold it over just to finish off that edge. And I'll take this and I'll fold it. I'm going to use my big old spatula to get that stuck. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tape, place tape all over this, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, so I have my tape down, and because we're working with such a large fold over piece, we are really going to be challenged to try to get this down and fold it over without getting any wrinkles. But if you do get some wrinkles, just like in life, that's okay. We're going to try not to get that many wrinkles in our paper. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to remove some of my tape. Not all of it, but I'm going to try to remove enough so that I can get this started and minimize my wrinkles. So I am going to take this and just fold it over where that spine is, and then I'll just press down in that spine first, and then I'll start pulling on the other side of that spine as tight as I can get it. I don't think that's too bad. So, not too many wrinkles, a couple. And now I'll take my big old spatula and I'm just going to iron out as many of those wrinkles as I can. Doesn't look like it's too bad on the wrinkle front. So now I'm going to lift up my final piece. And I am just going to take my finger and get it stuck right there. And then I'm going to pull the rest. And then that is how we do it as we go across. So you can see that I have a slight wrinkle, but it's okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and lift up this bottom layer of tape all the way across. And we'll go ahead and just get everything stuck. And so now that we have everything nice and stuck, I am just going to take my glue flaps and fold them backwards because I want to trim away this excess paper and I don't want those glue flaps to be in the way. So I am just folding them backwards. And so now what I am going to do is I am just going to come here and just trim away all of this excess paper. We don't need it, so I'm going to get rid of it. And so I'll just come in from panel to panel and trim off that excess. Okay, so once we have all of that excess trimmed away, this is what we're going to be left with. So I am just going to scroll across so that you can see on this end, we don't have a glue flap here, but we do have the glue flap on this end. So what we're going to do is we're just going to stand it up and fold it into a square and connect it. So I'll take my glue flap, just add some glue. Then I'll take this piece and I'm simply going to join it with this piece. Just like that. And then I'm going to make sure that I'm pulling it nice and tight so that it is as square as possible. And then we can take it and we can fold our flaps in just like this. And we'll bring that base in and we'll put it on the base and we'll have this part nice and secured. So I'm going to take this and set it to the side and we're going to go ahead and do the base. So grab your 13 by 13 inch piece, that is your base. I have tape on the back of mine, so I am going to remove that tape. And then I have already cut out a piece of my wrapping paper to fit this base and have some border around it. So I'm simply placing that down, and now I'll flip this over and we're just going to smooth out that wrapping paper. Then let's flip it back over and we're going to do the mitering of our edges. So I will just come in like this and miter on all four sides. And guys, if you are finding this organization series helpful, leave me a comment and let me know. And also let me know which of the organization projects you are going to make for your desk or your space. So I am just going to use my glue to fold over my flaps here. And then once we have our edges folded over, I am simply going to take my 12 by 12 inch piece and place it on the bottom. And I thought I would give this a red bottom just because. So I am just going to use my glue on this piece. I'm going to place glue along my edges. And it won't cause the foam board to warp. So I can use glue, for ordinarily I wouldn't use glue all over a large piece like this. But I am going to take this piece, place it down, use my paper towel to start that initial stick, and then I'll use my big old spatula to make sure everything is nice and stuck. So y'all, that's our base. So now we're going to take our actual box with the glue flaps folded in, and we're going to place it down. So now I can take my glue, and I am just going to place my glue all over these flaps so that we can have everything nice and stuck. So do not skimp on the glue here. And I wouldn't use tape. I would use glue on this because you want that hole to last a very long time. So we're just going to add our glue all over the place. And we are almost ready to stick it down. All right, so once we have the glue all over the glue flap, we're just going to flip it and stick it down. Doesn't matter if you get glue on the inside because we'll be placing an inside piece. But what I'm doing now is I am just spinning this to make sure I have it placed down evenly on all four sides. And in some cases, you really need to pull your glue flap in. And I'm having to pull this one in with my fingers, actually. So grab that glue flap, pull it in so that you have everything nice and stuck. Then make sure you have everything nice and even. So once you have your glue flaps pulled in and everything is looking nice and even, then you can take your big old spatula and go in and stick those glue flaps down. Because you don't want your box coming up at all. So once I have it stuck, I am just going to go along the inside again with my big old spatula to make sure that that stick is nice and permanent. So now guys, you can see that we have a nicely squared box, and we are going to go ahead and put down our base. So on your inside base piece, start out with the piece that measures 12.5 by 12.5, and then do your test fit. If it is too tight, then you probably need to trim off just a little bit, but you shouldn't have to trim off too much. But make sure you do that test fit because that is critical. So I am going to bring in my piece of wrapping paper that I cut out to go over this piece. Going to remove my tape. We're going to stick this down, and we are almost finished with another amazing way to organize our spaces. So I'll take this piece and put it down, trying to stay even with that grid. Then I'll use my big old spatula to just smooth everything out. And this time I'm going to trim away all of the excess. So I won't be doing any mitering or folding over. I'm just going to trim away all of that excess. And this is what we're going to be left with. And so now I'm going to take my glue, just place some glue on the back of this piece, and we'll stick it down. Put a little decorative touch on this, and then we can call it a wrap. So now I'm going to take this piece, again, do my fit, just to make sure. And I'll take it, I'm going to push it all the way in the corner, and then I'll push it down. And now we have a very, very sturdy tray, guys. This tray will hold some weight. Don't have to worry about whether or not it's going to bust through on the wrapping paper because it will hold the weight that you put in it. So the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our little metal label box and place it down. So I have tried to get this centered. I am just going to punch a hole. And then I'll just use my paper piercer to completely punch that hole. Now I'm going to take these little metal snaps that I have that I used on another project, put it through that hole, and then I'll push it through the hole there. And we'll do the same thing over here. I'll take this metal snap, punch it through, and then you have these little pieces that go on the back. So I am just going to take those, snap it on just like you heard, and do the same thing here. And then just so that they aren't sticking out as much, I'm going to take my cute little chunky hammer here and pound just a little bit. And just like that, y'all, we have another gorgeous desktop tray. This is absolutely fabulous and so easy to do. So wow, we are done. I said it was easy. It's a large piece, but not hard in construction. And look at what you end up with. You end up with this fabulous desktop, tabletop tray, however you want to use it. It is so versatile. So we have yet another way to store our 12 by 12 papers and keep them organized. So let's bring the other one in as well so that you can start to see how well you can coordinate the look of your office with just some paper, foam board, chipboard, whatever it is you might have handy, and you can turn your office space or your craft space or your home space into that designer look that you want it to be. I'm sure that you guys have seen boxes like this in the store and they don't come cheap. Well, guess what? You don't have to buy those. You can make them yourself. So that's exactly what we've done here. So guys, trust in your ability to be able to do this project because you can do this. Y'all, I hope that you have liked this video. If you have, please hit the like button. If you are not a subscriber to my channel, I would love to have you join this fabulous online crafting family. You guys, be safe, be kind, happy crafting, and we'll chat later. Bye.